Good Saturday morning. I said I wasn't going to do another video in the current house, but I lied. Not intentionally, but came up with the subject I wanted to talk. It's another off-topic subject. And if I look haggard, I am. No makeup, tired. Ever since last October, when the Fishing Wars Bridge seemingly permanently closed, my life has just had one thing after another, and I won't get into all of that. So, at this point, I don't even care. I said in a previous video I work in public service, and I'll just let you know that I work for the judicial system. So, I work for a court. And if any men out there watching this who don't like me because I use lots of words and I'm a feminist and I'm a strong woman, want to dox me, go ahead. At this point, I don't even care because I've been doxed before by some pastor who didn't like the words I put on the internet. Tried to get me fired from my job. Didn't work though. Anyway, I'm going to be off till Tuesday, but yesterday I was on phones rotation. My primary purpose at the court where I work is the front end of it, the front counter and the phones. I chose that. Other clerks would rather be in court. I would rather not be in court because of the egos of the male judges and the male prosecutors and the male defense attorneys barking orders at the clerks. I'd rather be cussed out because of a camera ticket than deal with that. So I just chose to be on the mostly customer service end of it. I still get paid the same. I still work the same hours, so that's cool. Yesterday, I was on the phone. It's my very first call from this man, and I won't reveal the crime he's in for, but it's one that typically does not go to pre-trial. He had his first appearance. Usually this particular crime doesn't go to second appearance unless they're a chronic offender of that crime. So he had been given a month from the first appearance to yesterday at 8:30 when he was supposed to be in court to figure out how to use Zoom because he lives somewhere far away from the court where I work. So he's allowed to go on Zoom. He calls, first call, I need you to help me figure out how to use Zoom. And I said, well, I can't help you figure that out, but I can give you the meeting ID and password. Now, as you can tell, I have a little bit of a southern accent. I was born in Birmingham, Alabama, so I know some of my words that I say you might not understand all that well. And he kept trying to say meeting ID. It's just like some nonsensical word. And I said, no, meeting ID. Because I was just trying to enunciate. I wasn't even being aggressive. I'm not an aggressive person. Not at all. Then he blew up. Because I am not talking in a nice voice and helping him out. And he said, oh, well, I can tell you're busy. I'm sorry I'm bothering you. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what you can do? Just go on YouTube and find a tutorial on how to use Zoom. Because if 90 years olds can use it and kids went to school using Zoom, you can figure it out. It's actually very easy. And I guess he figured it out because he didn't call back. But I have an instinct. I have a DAR, which I call creep DAR, asshole DAR, jerk DAR. I can always tell without looking at anybody's case history who have done assault and domestic abuse. I can just tell. I just get that vibe. And sure enough, I look up this guy's history, all this assault, all this domestic violence stuff, robbery, all this stuff. I just got that vibe. And he was like, not even like being an outright asshole, but you could just tell. You could just tell. And I wasn't even looking at him. I was on the phone. But finally, about 5 minutes in, I'm getting to the topic that I intended on talking about, which is women's underappreciated and unpaid labor that they do for everybody. I follow a comedian, feminist named Melanie Hartnett on YouTube, and she talks a lot about women's issues. And she was talking about Mother's Day and how much the wives of the husbands who want to get something for their mom for Mother's Day, the wife's actually doing all that labor. And in regard to other holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, the women are doing all that labor. 4th of July, sure, the guy will throw a steak down on the grill and grill it and then act like he did something really big when she probably did all the side dishes. And then he's going to have the nerve to say at the end of the day, aren't you glad you got a day off from cooking? I'm digressing a little bit. Mothers do so much work to prop up their families that the men just refuse to do. And unfortunately, these gender roles over time have not changed. That's why I asked James, my husband, who's actually a really good partner, and he actually does more work in the house than I do, except for certain things that bug me that don't bug him, and I'll do it. We have a good partnership. I said, can you get me a shirt that says "'Twas ever thus"? Because nothing ever changes. And he got one that we can share. It's a large, so we both can wear it. So I'm going to wear that in the upcoming video. But I just refuse to do a lot of that. I said I'm not going to elder care. I'm not going to child care. I'm not a nurturer. I will jump in front of somebody trying to attack a vulnerable person in a heartbeat. That's the kind of person I am, a protector. I'm not a nurturer. So I'm so glad that James understood that about me and accepts that about me. And his mother and his past father have military benefits. So their medical care, there's a lot that's going to be covered just by that fact. So that takes a lot of somebody having to take care of the parents out of it. So neither of us are necessarily going to have to worry about that. But that's something I can't do. I can't change diapers and bathe, and I sit around and listen to somebody with Alzheimer's get aggressive or babble, blah, 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 blah. I can't. I'm not that kind of person. So I'm glad that there's an understanding about that. And I'm glad that both James and I express our appreciation for each other and what we do and what we contribute to each other's lives. Because there was this video where this mom gets up on Christmas and every stocking was stuffed that she had stuffed, but the husband couldn't even be asked to stuff her stocking. It was empty. And I just found that freaking heartbreaking. And the lack of empathy that so many men have for their children and their wife, who has to be the one that shoves the baby out, carry it, cook it. The lack of empathy and the meanness, and that's another subject. So I'm not going to get into that. This is almost 9 minutes in now, and there's going to be a part 2 to this because I'm a public service worker. And I had actually thought about writing a book about it, but I think it's a little bit too late in the game. But I'm going to have my next video, which hopefully will be from the new house, about the essential workers during the pandemic and all the lockdowns and everything, how nobody cared about us. People pretended to care about the nurses and the teachers for a minute, but then they start getting put out, especially with the teachers. Oh, my teacher, blah, 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 blah. Your kid's teacher, it's basically like free daycare for you. Drop them off at the school, and you're mad now they can't go to the school. They have to do it remote, and the teachers are doing the best that they can, and you're mad at them. People cared about the elderly who couldn't kiss their grandbabies, and the immunocompromised, and the disabled, which legitimately you should have been concerned about them. Their mental health, their physical health. But nobody gave a fuck about the essential workers and our mental health and our physical health and our stress and everything we had to do to adapt. And nobody gave a flying fuck. And I wonder, because I've seen video arrest of people who are like driving drunk, and they blow like a .3 something, but they're pretty much lucid. So that means they have been doing some heavy drinking for a long time. And I wonder if essential workers, non-concern from the rest of society, contributed to their alcoholism. There's got to be some way to research about that. And there's got to be some, like, public service worker support group. I'm going to look more into that. Anyway, I got to get back to scrubbing down the refrigerator. I'm just trying to splooge clean, basically clean off splooges. To get ready, we have to be completely out of this house by the end of the month. Everybody have a good day.